All right, so what we're gonna do here tonight, World of Warships just released a roadmap 2026 video where they go over different things that they're kind of working on and showcasing there. So we're gonna go over here that tonight. We're gonna watch the video here together. All right, so let's go ahead and watch the video, guys, see what World of Warships is up to, and then we're gonna kind of give our take, some thoughts, and I think it's gonna be really cool. Let's go ahead and do this. Get up on the center monitor. Well, what do you think of that, chat, huh? Is that not cool or what? Changes aircraft carrier mechanics, changes additions to operations, cruisers, mid-tier cruisers getting a heal. Dude, Cleveland, Mogami, you know, they're getting a heal, baby. Let's go. Let's go. I mean, this is all great stuff, guys. I can't think of anything bad out of what they just put out in that video. There's a lot of really exciting things coming down the pike, chat. Baltimore gaming, Baltimore getting a heal is going to be phenomenal. Cleveland definitely needs a heal. So I'm super excited about that, guys. We got another destroyer tech tree line coming down the pike. I am super excited about that, guys. Pan American destroyers, you know they're gonna have a funny button. I can't say it for certain, but I know for a fact they're gonna have a funny button. New maps, guys, new maps coming to the game. What's not to like? They're overhauling Ocean. Okay, they talked about that in a previous dev blog before, where they were gonna kind of go through that, add kind of like rotating weather systems, and one of the things they made and mentioned in that dev blog that I still remember is they were talking, and granted everything that we say here tonight is going to be subject to change. One of the things that they wanted to do with some of these like cyclone events on Ocean, instead of bringing your standard detectability by sea down to 8 kilometers, which is really tough to work. Honestly, most people don't like cyclones because it brings it in too close, especially if you're in a cruiser. If you're in a cruiser going head to head with 2 secondary battleships, you're just done. So what they want to do is, instead of dropping that concealment limit down to 8 kilometers, they're at least expanding it out to 13, where most tier 8 battleships, your secondaries, if you full butt spec into them, don't really start kicking off until about 11.4 kilometers. So you'll have a little bit of a, not much, but a little bit of a buffer there when you find yourself in these scenarios, which I think is going to be really nice. Hopefully that sticks. We'll see what they do. I'm really looking forward to the new Pan American destroyer line. I think that's going to be really good. I'm really looking forward to playing Cleveland with a heal. I think that's gonna be, yeah, mines with a heal, dude. Pick it. Pick any one of these. Indianapolis, right? Indy, Neoko, Elena, New Orleans getting a heal, Indianapolis, York. You know, these are all ships that just have struggled with that for a long time when they find themselves up tiered. So this is really good stuff, guys. Just go through this and pick one. What are some of the other things that stick out to about that video? I think it's kind of cool that they're adding low tier ships to like operations and stuff. Give me some operations with a V22, V25, man. I think that'll be fun. What about support CVs, guys? What do you think about those kind of mechanics? I don't think that's a bad idea either. They want to, from what I understand out of the video, and we'll have to see how they implement it here, is it looks like carriers now have the ability to place fighters pretty much anywhere in the map within a radius of their squadrons. I think they're going to try to do the same thing with either a healing mechanic or a fire extinguishing mechanic. I don't see how that's bad. I think that's unique. It'll be interesting on how they implement it. You know, I have a lot of questions there because they could go in 10 different directions with that, right? You know what I mean? So we'll just have to kind of wait and see as to how they want to kind of like implement some of them, and the super testers are going to have a lot of fun with that. But I'm all for getting carriers away from just straight up farming damage and leaning more towards kind of a support role of your teammates. And they did that with the fighters, and it's really nice to see them experimenting with both a healing mechanic and a repair mechanic. I think that's cool. What do you guys think of that?
More variety is always good.
Because originally we were thinking they were going towards the path of having carriers that are more focused on farming damage instead of supporting the team.
Yeah.
So I feel like If they're gonna take away the spotting, then yeah, I think a little bit more in terms of team play would be welcome. I know that's been a complaint I've heard, is that carriers can't really do anything for the team anymore because they took the spotting away.
Yeah, I think that's a good point too. It's changing the way that they're gonna have to be implemented in the game, right? You're focusing a lot less on a damage farming role and more of a team support role, and I'm really okay with that because, as is stated in the video too, one of the mechanics that they're testing is trying to have a progressive AA increase. The more your planes, more a carrier decides to focus you, which was me in that last game when the Ashikaka, the carrier, there was not much I could do about it, right? I had tier 4 level at AA going against a Furious, and he just torpedoed till he died. What they want to do is the more a carrier is attacking your ship, a progress bar will increase as your AA is firing. It'll keep track of how much your AA is kicking off, and the more the CV attacks you, the more that CV is going to have to pay for continuing to strike your ship. Does that make sense? I think that's a good change. What I will say here too is I think the game that we have right now in 2026 is far more balanced than what it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago. You know what I mean? So they're continuing to make changes. They're monitoring it as they go, and that's pretty cool. What do you think about the matchmaker changes, right? They want to kind of make, they're going to try to isolate. I don't think isolate's a good word, but I think they're going to try to focus more on getting tier 10 versus tier 10 ships instead of being up tiered all the time in your tier 8s, right? And combining servers is massive. It's so massive. That opens up the door for better matchmaking, right? You know, if you have a higher population, you don't have to go 3 tiers higher being up tiered all the time when you're in a tier 6. If you're in I said that earlier, if you're in a tier 6 cruiser, Bagoni, you know what I mean? London really suffers at high tier. When you're fighting tier 8s in a London, you're having a bad day because that thing has no range. It does have smoke, but it has no range. You know, so I think that's always a good thing too when they're kind of like always looking and monitoring a matchmaker. I do agree what they say. I think the matchmaker isn't too bad. Adding players to a population pool is just going to help limit the amount in which you're going to be up here. What do you guys think of that? Classic Carthage, what's your take on that? Do you have any thoughts?
I think we need to be careful about how we're characterizing this because I don't think they're really merging like some people are saying online.
Okay.
The classic definition that we always talked about having one account on 2 servers, that kind of thing, and going that far yet. So what they're doing is, from best I could understand, is that they're allowing different server populations into combined battles at tier 10.
Yeah,
tier
that's
10,
yeah. I think
11.
that's a better way of looking at it. I think you're more right. I think you're right, Classic. That's a better.
So
I don't want to put out false information either.
Yeah, it's not necessarily false, but I think people are thinking that it's that, and I think it may wind up that way, you know, across the board. And this may be a way of easing into that.
Sure.
It's pretty smart, I think, you know, especially if you're taking. I think the complaint people really have is being up tiered so much.
Yeah.
And so this alleviates that at tier 9 and tier 8. So, or should help at least.
Yeah.
And if that trickles down to where, like I was talking in Discord, if it trickles down to tier 7, that'd be great too at some point.
Yeah.
You know, if this all works, and maybe they do quote unquote merge the server, but I think if they keep servers in both Europe and the US and then allow people to play on either one transparently, then it's fair, right?
I think so
It's
too.
fair,
Yeah.
it's fair to both populations.
Yep, I agree wholeheartedly. You know, one thing that sticks out to me too, it's like with the introduction of super ships, right? Tier 9, you know, really kind of took a massive hit when it got up tiered. Tier 9 used to be one of the best tiers to play in the game. You know what I mean? Because they weren't fighting super ships. You were right smack dab in the middle of being up tiered, you know, or being the up tier category, go fighting tier 7s. With the introduction of super ships, Conde, Indianapolis, you know, to those two really really shut down tier 9 super carriers, right? United States Eagle, those really punish tier 9 ships right now. So getting a little bit more better matchmaking, or a little bit more kind of like tier Pacific matchmaking, the closer you get to like tier 9, I think tier 9 is going to be a lot of fun to play. Operations, right? They're adding a lot of stuff to operations, which is going to be super cool. Their new objectives, I think that's what they say, and I like that they're expanding it to lower tier. I think that's going to be kind of cool. Tier 5 and below. Like, seriously, give me an operation where I can go out, probably my favorite tier 2 ship in the game, the V25, man. This thing is hilariously fun to play. Ridiculously fun to play. And if you know, if you go load up in a random in this thing, you're probably going to get two or three live players on each side. The rest are going to be bots. Give me like an operation where I can go in with this thing, play some objectives, you know what I mean, spew torps every 38 seconds, you know what I mean, and have the time of my life. This thing does 49 knots. These ships are like insanely fun to play.
There's something not in the video that I want to toss out there, and I think get some people excited, which is they're going to rerun some of the Dockyards. So if you missed a Dockyard ship, you're going to have another chance.
Oh man, I hope they bring the Missouri back. I was in flight school during the Missouri Dockyard, and I was in between internet. My internet was kind of crap, so they were installing fiber down my road. So not only was I doing some of the most intense study in my life when I was in flight school, I didn't have really good internet until after that event. Even though that was probably one of the best Dockyards they ever did, I missed out on it because I was studying for flight school. Now that I got the flight school thing behind me, it'd be really nice if they brought that back. That's super good.
You know what? I've got every Dockyard except for one, I think. And you know what's going to be big for me there is if a Dockyard comes out and I don't have to grind it.
Yeah, exactly. Just play the game, you know what I mean? Exactly. Also adding custom details for your ship. That's a good point, Raz. I'm glad you're doing that. I think that's really cool. Yeah, any chance that you can customize something to your own little thing, right? Make it yours. Give me a poi label, Royal Warships. Give me a poi tag that I can put on the side of my ships. I think that'd be kind of cool. But yeah, decals. I mean, just little minor customizations and stuff like that are really good. They didn't get into the details, but they said they're planning on releasing a new map by the end of the year, right? So always having a new map is something that's never going to be frowned upon. You know, I'm all for having new content come to the game, especially new maps. So that's kind of exciting. I think it'll be fun. I think there's a lot of good things coming down the pike, chat. I'm really super excited about it. And Evans, during that video, talked a lot about that too. They took a big hit over the first couple of years because they lost a massive amount of talent with their development team. So I think they've recovered pretty good. So I'm pretty excited, guys. I think that's it's definitely got me amped up with some of the things that they got coming down the pipe. I don't see anything bad coming from it. I don't think there's anything that they're going to do that's going to break the game, right, so to speak. I think you're adding content, you're making ships more playable, you're balancing, you're continually trying to balance the matchmaker. I think it's just a better experience all around. You're adding content to operations, right? So, and they're adding customization to ships that you already have with decals, right? So this is all really good stuff. So yeah, guys, I don't really see how anything bad can come from this. I think it's all good stuff. I'm excited about a lot of it. I'm personally glad that they're adding heals to mid-tier cruisers, and I will always be thankful and happy that they're continuing to make changes to carriers and the way their mechanics work in game. I think that's good. I'm really looking forward to them making changes to eliminating accidental spotting by carriers. As a destroyer main, I think that's going to be a really good thing. So we'll see how that goes.